The Pastor and the Imam, today on The World. I'm Carol Hills, in for Marco Werman. Two Nigerians divided by religion. One a Muslim leader, an imam, the other a Christian pastor.
Imam was to me somebody that need to die. Even if I pray, I will pray for him to die.
But now the two are friends.
Two different people with two different culture, with two different orientations, they can work together to make the world a better place.
Their story today on the show, plus a Muslim American woman in the Bay Area considers removing her hijab in public.
I thought this was a country where you could practice your religion for free, but I really feel like I can't practice my religion for free if every time I go outside, people are just going to treat me differently.
Those stories, plus the disease that threatens bananas, ahead on The World. How do you bridge a divide based on religion and made worse by extremist violence? In a few minutes, we'll hear from two Nigerians who've managed to do that. We begin, though, with a closer look at America's strategy against ISIS. Under President Obama, the main goal has been to contain the extremist group in Syria and Iraq. But that strategy has come in for heavy criticism after the Paris attacks and the San Bernardino shootings. And this week, Obama's top military commander admitted that ISIS is not contained. Harleen Gambier is a counterterrorism analyst with the Institute for the Study of War in Washington. I asked her if ISIS is actually gaining territory in Syria and Iraq.
Well, they are conducting new campaigns in Syria, certainly, but I think the important thing to note is actually that ISIS is conducting a global strategy, and so it is defending its terrain within Iraq and Syria and launching new campaigns within Syria, but at the same time, it's establishing regional affiliates across North Africa, the Middle East, and Central Asia, and it's also conducting a global terror campaign, as we've seen, unfortunately, in the past few months. So it's a mistake to talk about ISIS as just an actor within Iraq and Syria.
If ISIS has a global strategy, what would you advise President Obama to do?
What we really need is a strategy that addresses ISIS or that counters ISIS in each of the three geographic areas that I just noted. So we certainly need to, first and foremost, make sure that we're leaning into the strategy to expel ISIS from its terrain within Iraq and Syria, both by increasing our support to the Iraqi security forces and by actually providing effective support to the moderate Syrian opposition. But at the same time, we also need to look towards the broader region where ISIS affiliates are operating and contain and degrade those affiliates before they gain resiliency to the extent that they could promote ISIS's caliphate project, even if the group was defeated within Iraq and Syria. And of course, we must act against ISIS's radical networks in Europe, the US, and Australia, which have shown their ability to attack the US homeland.
Are you talking about boots on the ground in various parts of the world where ISIS is active?
Well, definitely not the sort of mass-scale deployment that some political figures are talking about. What we actually see coming out, the Pentagon has actually proposed a plan for regional basing, looking at places like Spain directed towards North Africa, Afghanistan, Djibouti, Iraq, as potential hubs for intelligence gathering operations and special forces that can help to monitor and halt the expansion of these regional affiliates of ISIS and Al-Qaeda. And that's especially important because those groups are still in their nascent stages. They're not at the point where ISIS is within Iraq and Syria. And so early action against them can be extremely effective. But if we sit on our hands and wait, we'll get to a point where the problem spirals out of control.
You've written that part of ISIS' strategy is to, quote, destroy the gray zone. What does that mean?
Well, ISIS has an explicit strategy to terrorize and polarize the West, and by that I mean the US and Europe. So ISIS encourages, and in some cases even resources and directs, as we saw in Paris, terror attacks that aim not only to punish members of the anti-ISIS coalition or groups that are acting against ISIS in Iraq and Syria, but are also meant to destabilize the West through polarization. So ISIS hopes that this constant stream of lone wolf and broader terror attacks can create an environment of fear in which state and social groups really lash out against their Muslim communities, helping to push those communities towards ISIS. ISIS wants to eliminate moderation. It wants to eliminate that gray zone and instead push the world towards its envisioned apocalyptic war.
So what can we expect from ISIS moving forward?
We will see ISIS continue to lean into its regional expansion and international terror campaigns as a means of gaining resiliency outside of Iraq and Syria. I think, ISIS will continue to defend what it has in Iraq and Syria and may even try to expand further into